I linked up my call to Ida Nganga, who's the General Manager and Head of Growth at Meta Nairobi, one of the leading entrepreneur communities here in Nairobi. Ida has been in the business development space and partnership for close to 6 years. Her role is entirely focused on bringing in new partners that provide value through content-based and strategic engagement.
Lovely to see you again, Ida. These are interesting times, correct?
Very.
And I think it's been a really interesting period for not just flexible working, but for the ways that businesses in what is an emerging environment are growing. But you guys have built Meta brilliantly, and well done with that. I mean, it's a hell of a journey to go on, I know. Tell me more about how it all started, because it's community-minded.
Yes, it is very community-minded. So Meta is part of Nest Global, and Nest is basically a VC based out of Hong Kong, and now in London because of all the economic issues, and COVID-19 definitely affected us. Because of that, and because we run a lot of corporate innovation programs, we decided to create a community which is called Meta.
Okay.
Meta is an entrepreneurs club.
Okay.
We believe in innovation, and we believe innovation cannot happen in isolation.
Okay.
So we created this beautiful space to ensure that entrepreneurs are able to connect within each other, and investors as well, corporates, so that they can be able to connect in ways that could not ideally happen if you are, in isolation, right? If you're in your own office space.
And there's probably been great incidents, great examples of where that kind of collision between types of ideas.
Yeah.
Is that something you see a lot of here?
Yes, we do, because of, again, I will go back to the corporate innovation programs we run, right?
Okay.
A corporate will come to us and say, hey, I have this problem statement that I want to run by you, right? And I want a couple of entrepreneurs to come, sit down, and give an idea, and form the basis of how we can tackle this problem.
Okay.
Right? And from that kind of connection, the entrepreneur will come and the corporate will come together. We are just literally the connector.
The broker.
The broker. Yes, we are the broker.
Yeah.
We take the entrepreneurs through this model where, starting from, it's idea stage, starting from the moment you have this idea and how it can accelerate becoming an actual business. Again, and I know you've heard about this, we have this partnership in Nairobi Garage. Nairobi Garage is the brick and mortar space, right?
Yeah. An
entrepreneur will come, pick a space, say, I want to run this, right? But because Meta is a members club and you need to pay a members fee, not all entrepreneurs are able to pay for that.
Okay.
Right? So that's why we formed this connection, to build a bigger community. When we ask entrepreneurs, okay, what are you trying to look for? Are you trying to look for an investor? Are you trying to look for funding? Are you trying to look for grant funding? That's why we created this space, basically. Yeah.
And you're very sort of event-driven in your membership benefits.
Yes.
And how has that been affected by the pandemic?
Oh, wow, I cannot even begin to understand. I elaborate this, because we used to do events basically every other day at the space. We would run maybe 4 or 5 events in a week. In this very small space, it actually holds about 20 to 100 people. And we had already started doing podcasting, right? For our members, we do fireside chats like what we're doing right now. And so when the pandemic came, we couldn't get all these people together at one space. So we had to go online. And the pandemic affected people in different ways. It's not easy getting people to sit down for an event for 2 hours, right? So we had to cut our events by half. We're still running them, same concept, only that it's a virtual event. Even revenue-wise, I would give an example of media networks or Visa or Uber, who have hosted events here, who have sponsored events because they wanted to drive an agenda. All these companies I've mentioned, they have either launched a report here or launched something, right? And for that they would launch, and then we'd have a panel event. Right? And different stakeholders from different sectors would have a conversation about that. And that is not really viable when you're doing, virtual events. No. But we have been able to tackle that. And we're going to have a launch soon, the first virtual launch in the pandemic. So yeah, I think the point is that we need to innovate around the pandemic. It has really driven the innovation space.
And let's just talk about that from an innovation point of view, because it's certainly something that we've had to think through, and it's part of our approach to space, the physical space, has been about working out what's going to work for corporates who need to operate in this new environment, whether it's 3-2 systems, we have technology for scheduling rotations of people through desks so that they can get further efficiencies.
Yes.
So what kind of other innovation, that you guys have developed, and also how much of that is flooding into these new entrepreneurs' way of thinking?
So one of the things that we did was that most of the corporate innovation programs would run them physically, right? Because we'd take them through design thinking workshops and stuff like that. But we needed to innovate this online. So we took all our programs online, right? We would use the different systems to ensure that, the impact still remains as it is, using, let's say, Mural, which is a very good design thinking workshop to use. It's not easy because, some people, and I'm sure you've heard this, can you hear me? Can you see my screen, But I think over time, people have been able to tackle these things, and it is one of the things that we've done, right? And it's not been easy in the space. However, as we've said, innovation does not happen in isolation. So we've been able to actually even run programs from across the world. We are currently running a program with Calibro Foundation based out of Italy. They're supporting an innovator and a circular economy.
Have you found that people are still craving that physical interaction?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think even for me, speaking from my point of view, I still want to see people at the space. Having ran all these events in the past year before the pandemic, I was counting the other day, and I think in 2019 we actually held about over 200 events in this space, right? Wow. And they were all coming through, having a conversation with people, connecting. That's not something that you can do virtually. We've tried to do breakout rooms, where different people will come and connect. It's still not the same. It's not the same as you having a cup of coffee with someone after an event and talking about your business, right? Okay. I still believe that, and this is your model, right? It is not sustainable for us to keep working from home. No. We still need to see each other, to work. There are things that can't work virtually. We've seen that, right? Yeah. And that is why your model is working. Yeah. And, the rotational desks, and also corporates have seen that we really don't need the huge offices. No. We can actually just outsource from Coffeesy, right? Yes. And I think that is working. It's cheaper, right, than renting out a huge space, right?
So just in terms of the pandemic, then finally, how will you grow from here? What's your plans? And how much of what we've had to go through over the last 18 months is going to be fixed with you as you grow? Have you adapted your growth plan?
Yes. So basically what we are trying to do right now is create partnerships across Africa, across Kenya and across Africa. So we've already done that with Nairobi Garage, where the Nairobi Garage members have access to Meta, and our Meta members have access to Nairobi Garage. You see, these are two different communities that have come together to create one of the biggest communities in Kenya right now, right? We have partnerships with Lake Hub, another one in Nakuru, another one in Mombasa, right? To ensure that even when somebody travels, they're able to access a space where they can feel like, they're working, they build, and and it's something that we've just discussed before. Prior to this, we should actually come into partnership and expand, because you have the spaces. I only have one space, but my members are all over, right? I don't only have members in Nairobi or in Kenya. I have members in Nigeria, I have members in Rwanda, I have members in South Africa, right? And they still need to feel like, oh, Meta is still trying to ensure that I am productive where I go, right? And they're trying to show that they are still connecting me to different entrepreneurs. Yes. So partnerships, I think, is one of our biggest strategy this year across, across Africa and beyond. Yeah.
Well, I've learned a lot. Thanks very much for explaining your model. And hopefully, in terms of that partnership, there's partnership places, things that we may be able to do together. Yeah. With our cross-continental infrastructure as well. So congratulations on Meta, and thanks for spending some time with me.
Thank you so much, and your space is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you so much for having watched the show. Hope you've learned a thing or two. I think for me the biggest takeout is that a lot is happening in this particular flexible working space industry, and for you to literally chatter your way out, you need to literally innovate. And it's the case for any particular industry, considering the disruption you're facing with the pandemic. If you're an entrepreneur out there and you'd like to be a part of the show, remember you can always reach us. Our social media handles are running below the screen. My name is Ian Dennis, and this has been The Business Coach, where we help entrepreneurs better their businesses.